The blue and yellow line is the Boston Marathon finishing. Now, we are by stop 7. So for you guys, yes, actually slightly faster. Yeah. It's actually only one stop.
Now, when we come back, how far that way should we go?
Actually, you can go all the way to Park Street, the Common. No. The furthest you can go, because it's the green line, will be the Common. So you can actually get off by the Common. You'll be beside stop 3 and 8. Thank you for joining us, guys, all right? Thank you. 8 in Charles Street. This street originally is known as the Frog Lake. Later on, we'll show you what he always commemorated also. Now, Boylston Street will be a street that, like everything you see in this neighborhood, they just started developing this neighborhood. So you don't have a single house in this location that is built before the 1850s. Everything coming in the back bay technically comes to existence. All first Victorian neighborhood in our city. And almost like a premonition of the future, also the Porsche part of our city. And this city, we're going to come here to also the first public building that is built here. Truly celebrated then, because keep in mind, this is the first excuse and reason for the couples, members of the public, to come in and see this neighborhood. On your left, Arlington Street Church. Now where you'd find also some of the most beautiful stained glass windows in town. But imagine, in 1861, even if you were not a Unitarian, now you had a reason to come in and see how this neighborhood is becoming, because you'd be able to come into the church right here. This place becomes even more emblematic, because in 2004, it becomes the first place in our country receiving a state sanctioned same-sex wedding. So this place becomes then a major location for LGBTQ movements as well. Now, as we are moving, this is the top of the buildings, allowing the residents to then have secluded areas surrounded by nature, where you get to see the skyline of our city. Very peaceful areas, and you also have some publics, because you have a bunch of them in the back bay as well. The Boston Common, Public Common, on your left. When we established this location, and as you spoke earlier, in 1880, you would then find here over 91,000 species of plants, flowers, and trees. Now, most of the trees you see in this, the first commission the development of the back bay, but also is what then allowed us to have now different exits towards the south, because technically Charles Street now leads you towards the south end. So this is how we extend Charles Street. A lot of landfill that comes in and is finalized between 1824 to 1827. By then, because it lived in this neighborhood, not just the Kennedy family, but also the Winthrop family and the Quincy Adams family resided in the community. We are now beside our stop 8. So you have on your left the State House, the building that replaces the former State House we left by stop 2 with the golden lion and the silver unicorn. And the building is built in the late 1790s by Charles Bulfinch. The Golden Dome is what gave us the cost. The building cost $140,000. The Golden Dome is originally made of wood, overlaid with copper in the early 1800s, overlaid then with gold in the late 1800s. We did it twice more in 1997. It cost us $1.5 million after adjustments and inflation to rig out the gold flakes there. The memorial on your right, one of the most celebrated in our country. If you ever seen them up in the State House, General Hooker entrance, one of the areas of the South. Immediately past, if you remember the hanging tree we spoke about when we started our tour, you're now looking at one of the 3 Quakers we hanged. Mary Dyer Quaker is one of the 3 religious martyrs we hanged in the common by the rich hanging tree you now have left in 1660. When we congregated in the common in 1660, it was actually to prosecute the Quakers. And if you allow my opinion, up on our left, you'd still see the State House, the replica of the Capitol, and now you get to see the Beacon Hill Monument. This monument is designed by Charles Bulfinch, originally sits in front of the State House, is relocated here many years later, and it now tells you the original height of the hill. The height you see in this monument is also the same height the hill had before we demolished it. And that's how we have so much dirt to develop the landfill projects, because we developed the hill this tall and we demolished it. And as we are approaching the next set of traffic lights, we are now heading towards Cambridge Street. Cambridge Street, as the name says, will guide you to Cambridge, where you would be able to enter MIT. And is also the only bridge that I'll suggest you house in an architectural style not quite seen in town by then. So we come in the 1960s to create a newer portion for our government center, which creates larger buildings for the mayor's office, but also larger buildings for the many departments and offices for the city hall. So the tower you see ahead of